What's up, y'all? Welcome to What Joe Thinks episode 3. Today, we talk about parenting. Now, my hope is to host a space here where we can have a conversation and interactions about all the things that I'm talking about. So if you feel like you have any feedback, any thoughts on anything I say, feel free to send them on over to me. Or if you have any topics or ideas you'd like for me to talk about, I'd love to try my best to do so. Just as in our last video. We talked about relationships and what I think of relationships. More importantly is, what do we do in this current state of being as we look forward to the next stage of our relationship life, especially if we don't know if and when that will happen or even what will happen. So if you haven't caught that yet, the link is in the description box below. Please go check it out. But today we talk about parenting. What do I know about parenting? Really, not a whole lot. My kids are 3 and 1, and for the past half a year, I've been parenting remotely. I've been parenting from the United States to Taiwan for my kids because we've been apart. So you can call it almost teleparenting. So I want to first say I don't know enough about parenting to be called any form of anything beyond the beginner. And that is my first disclaimer. My second disclaimer is, really, I don't really quite know that there's ever such a thing as a parenting expert, because all kids are different, all parent-child relationships are different, all parents are different, and the dynamics that are playing between all these different things going on, culturally speaking, language speaking, geographically, all those different things. I don't quite know that there's an expert that can tell you everything you need to know about everything. So in that, I hope we get to have some time to discuss what we all feel about parenting. At least I will. So here are my thoughts on parenting. First off, I think for us to realize how we want to parent, or how we can best be preparing to be a parent, or how we can best parent from this point on forward, it is imperative, it is important that we first think about how we were parented. Let me say that again. Before we think about how to become a parent, how are we going to be better parents, it's important for us to reflect on how we were parented. Now, and I understand it's weird because not all of us agree with how our parents parented us. Not every one of us agrees with how our parents brought us up to be the people that we were. But before you really go and just criticize or talk about how your parents parented you, take a good look in the mirror. Because you are who you are today because of how they brought you up. Now, there are lots of things that went into it, right? We have all of our youth experiences, college experiences, young adult experiences, cultural experiences, media that we take in. Everybody has so many things that bring you to be who you are today. But remember, a lot of it is how you were parented when you were young. A lot of who you are today, especially if you think, you know what, I am doing fairly well in life and I am not a troubled person in my life now, a huge part of that is owed to how your parents took care of you when you were younger. Whether or not they are quote unquote right, or whether or not they did the right thing or the wrong thing, you still turned out pretty good. At least I hope. And for us to realize that who we are today has such a big part, or such a big contribution of it comes from how we were parented, I think it gives us reassurance to know that we can do what we need to do, how we need to do so, and really our kids will turn out fine. Our kids will turn out great. I mean, look, I turned out great. Just kidding. Second thing is, I think along the way, as we realize how we grew up, there are so many things that we picked up on along the way. Like I said, there's the college experiences, high school experiences, all these different experiences make us who we are today. Remember, that's how our parents were too when they were parenting us. There's so many things they picked up along the way that made them into the parents that they are today. I mean, after all, we're all just human and they are also learning on the job. For example, My dad, when he was in Taiwan, when we were all in Taiwan, was a very firm and strict father, and he still is, and that's the core of who he is today. He is a very righteous person. He needs to have structure in his life. When he came to the States, when we all moved here, when I was in the 3rd grade, it was almost like there was a switch flipped, where it's not so much that he took and abandoned all of those things, is he realized that in order for him to connect with us, to connect with this world, his style of parenting had to change. And he did. And he's still to this today one of the most righteous people I know, one of the people who need structure the most in this world. And I appreciate him for that. But I also appreciate that he took the time to take that structure, throw it out the window, and develop a new format for my sister and myself. So that just goes to show you how you are today is such a big product of how your parents have parented you when you were younger. Now, on to the next thing, how we actually will parent. And I'm going to give you my very, very big secret. And in fact, a secret so big that if I were to tell you what it was, you would be like, yeah, well, I already knew that. It's true. The big secret to parenting is to listen. I think the biggest secret to parenting is to listen. Now, you may think, yeah, of course, Joe, everybody knows that. And I absolutely agree. You rationally knew that. You knew that in your head, but there's a reason why you're watching this video. And I thank you for it. But I think the biggest secret to parenting is to listen, and not just to your children. I think one of the biggest secrets to parenting is to listen to all those around you who are truly invested in your family's well-being. All those people who you wrote off as annoying, or as aunties and uncles giving you all this info and input and feedback, and they're like, oh my gosh, you need to stop telling me things. Those are the people you actually need to listen to. I'll share with you some of my thoughts. So when we brought Elliot as a little wee bit boy, right, when he was a tiny little infant, we brought him to church. A lot of aunties and uncles and grandpas and grandmas would tell us what we need to do, how we need to care for him, how we need to feed him, how we need to watch over him and care for him. And at the time, I will tell you today, and I'm only telling you today because you can't physically be near me because I'm in quarantine, I found it really annoying. I was like, I know better. I know so much better than all of you. I took a parenting class at UCSD when I was in college. In fact, I read a book last month. Therefore, I know more than you do. And boy, was I an idiot. I mean, these are individuals who are truly invested in your life. They care about you and they care about how well you and your child do. And for that alone, shouldn't you offer them a bit of respect and listen? Because there are so many pearls, so many nuggets in what they tell you that a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, as you're working with your child, you're going to remember someone saying, you ought to do X, Y, and Z, and you go, you know what? You were right. I should do X, Y, and Z. But if you didn't take the time to listen, you wouldn't have realized that what they said was truly valuable. Don't get me wrong, listening to your children or listening to your kid is of utmost importance, and that is the core of your relationship with your child. But I really think the secret to successful parenting is to listen to all those around you who are truly invested in your life, taking in everything they have to say, and realizing, gosh, I have a support system around me that I cannot live without. Because it truly takes a village to raise a kid. So friends, family, thank you all for listening. I hope this was somewhat helpful. Please let me know what you think. Let me know what else you'd like for me to talk about. Because guys, we're just here to have a conversation. We're here to listen to what Joe thinks. Thank you all for everything. I'll see you in the next couple of days on our next episode. Thanks. Bye.